Hi, I'm Michael Caju.
And I'm Adee Caju, and you're listening to the WAG podcast. This podcast is about health, wellness, and personal development.
Each episode is a short conversation between Adee and I on a single topic with actionable steps. We cover everything from food, mindset, fitness, and relationships.
We started WAG because of the way health and fitness changed our lives, so we hope to share a tool or two that helps you along your way.
Welcome back, guys. Thank you for joining us. Today, we're going to talk all about morning routines. This is something that we've done a shitload of experimentation on, and it's something that is really important to both of us in our lives that I think has made a huge impact.
Probably one of the biggest tactical things that we've implemented in our life that has yielded huge results for us, for sure.
Before we get into that, if you haven't done so already, we would really appreciate if you would leave us a review on either iTunes or Spotify. That is one of the ways that we grow the show. The other way is just making better podcasts. But by doing so, one, you're really motivating and inspiring us to continue doing this, and you're also helping us reach more people, which is something that we're trying to do.
And just know, Michael doesn't do this, but it's definitely part of I was going to say weekly, but that would be a total lie. I actually check it more often. It's something that we look at consistently and read every single one and feel more connected to you guys. So I know that there's some people out there that listen to us every week, and we just want to hear about what you love about it and what you're taking from it and what you're implementing into your life. So just take a couple seconds to give us a review.
And if you would like one of your questions answered on the show, whether that be something in nutrition, personal development, relationships, anything you would like our advice on, you can go to workingagainstgravity.com/podcast, scroll down to the start recording button, and leave us your name, where you're from, and a nice concise message, ideally in a quiet place where we can hear it really well and then actually play it on the show before we answer it. And then lastly, if you haven't checked this out yet, we launched what we call the 21-day challenge a couple months ago, and this thing has been a huge hit. It is a 21-day challenge with the goal of teaching you how to set and track your own macros and then stick to it for 21 days. So it's a course, it's an online course, and people are getting some great results. They're loving it. So if you're interested in that, you can go to workingagainstgravity.com, and it's right there at the top of our website.
Yeah, that's everything. You did a good job.
I always do a good job. Come on. Morning routines. So I think this is one of the highest leverage things you can do that is totally in your control, because it puts you in the driver's seat of your day. It allows you to be proactive rather than reactive.
It's most kind of people like being on offense versus being on defense.
Exactly. Most people wake up, and you might be one of them. Most people wake up, they look at their email, their social media, their text messages. They're looking at all of those things are what other people either want from them, or it's things that other people are putting out into the world. And that automatically causes us to react to external stimuli. And so we're reactive rather than proactive or creative. So this puts us in the driver's seat.
And it totally is impossible for you to unsee the things that you've seen. I can't tell you how many times before we've gotten more disciplined that I've opened up my phone and I've read a text message that I know I'm not going to answer right now because it's the morning and I haven't even started my day, but I can't unsee what's been written. And now my whole morning routine, all I'm thinking about is that text message, and it's stressing me out, or I'm worried about it, or all I want to do is respond. I might as well just respond in that moment and take over my morning routine with getting that thing over with, because I'm not going to be productive at all. So a morning routine is so incredible for easing into your day. And like you're saying, the people that are being more reactive in the morning and waking up and checking their phone or snoozing endlessly until you have just the right amount of time to get dressed and do your thing to get to work on time. You have this feeling of always catching up.
Yeah.
Like I'm just getting to work on time. And for most of us, it takes a couple minutes, maybe even more, to sit at the desk, get acquainted with your email or whatever it is that you have to do for the day before you can actually get into it and get started. So if you don't have a morning routine can help you feel like you're ahead of the day. So you get to work and you don't have that catching up feeling of I always have to try and catch up with the day. There's not enough time. I can't get enough stuff done. And you always have that it's like a feeling of like I'm rushing all the time when you don't have to
even though you have the
rushing.
same amount of things to do
Exactly.
as you did the day before.
So a morning routine is completely when I'm super dialed in with it and I'm doing it consistently and now we have things that we know work, it makes me feel none of that.
It's also just a great way to do some of the activities that you just really want to do, but feel like you don't have time for. People want to meditate. They want to journal. They want to create something, write poetry. They want to spend more time with their loved one. They want to read more. This can give you that time to do those activities that you're not making time for elsewhere.
Yeah, just a note on that. I was recently hanging out with this woman named Mama Gina, who, if anybody doesn't know her, look her up. She's incredible. And she was talking about morning routines, like you're saying, that it is a form of self-care, right? And it gives you the opportunity to do things that you want to do. But she also said, don't get into this trap of that self-care means that you enjoy actually doing it when you're doing it. It doesn't mean you have to enjoy it. You don't have to wake up in the morning and want to meditate or enjoy meditation or want to be writing in your journal or be motivated to be writing in your journal. Self-care is just you do it because it's good for you. So
it's good for future you.
Yeah, it's good for future you. So this doesn't mean you get this luxurious, amazing, I feel so good doing this. I'm enjoying it so much. Some mornings, it could be. And some mornings you're so pumped to get up and you're so excited to do your morning routine and it feels amazing. But some days the resistance is there and you just want to get right into the day and get on the hamster wheel. And just know that we're not talking about that this is easy or super enjoyable. We're talking about this is good for the future version of you. And it is a form of self-care, but it doesn't mean you have to love every single minute of it.
Right. A morning routine is essentially a set of habits or behaviors that you take each morning to elicit a specific type of feeling, like to put yourself in a certain state, to get certain things done that you want to get done. When we met, we were like just completely obsessed with each other on one hand. We had just started our own businesses 6 months before, and we were traveling in an RV. I say all of that to paint the picture that we just had a lot. We had a lot going on, right? We had a lot on our schedule. We were really busy, and we would get up in the morning like really late, and we had that feeling constantly of always being behind. Like no matter what we had on our plate, we always felt like we were sort of behind. And slowly we started to feel like something had to change. And I don't know where you got it, but you picked up the perfect day formula.
I met Craig Ballantyne at an event and had a great conversation with him. Totally, it resonated with his message. And he gave me a copy of his book called The Perfect Day Formula. Super short book. It's got those like pages with really big words. So there's not a lot of words on each page. Something that you can actually get through in a couple hours, like a real book that you can get through in a couple hours. I've recommended that to a couple people and not more than a couple people. And it's also completely transformed their days and their perspective. Of course, you don't have to, it's definitely a very disciplined approach to your day, but it's a way to set up your day to have the most optimal, perfect day. And it really did kickstart us to being motivated to experimenting with a bunch of ways to start our day and finish our day.
So you read it first, and then I read it, and then we started to experiment with different things.
Yeah. So the big points in the book talk about going to bed early so that you can get up and have a morning routine. Those are like his big points. That was one big point. And why does he say that? So that you can start your day off the way that we're talking about and have the perfect day.
So most people think, okay, I want to have a morning routine. That means I have to wake up earlier. And so they only focus on the waking up earlier part, but they don't adjust when they're going to sleep. So they want to get up an hour earlier, but they're still going to sleep at the same time. They really wonder why it's so hard to get up so much earlier. If you just focus on the going to sleep part instead of the waking up part, the waking up part is easy.
Easier.
Exactly.
Easier. It's definitely not easy for me, but it's definitely easier.
So after a ton of experimenting and large times of being like really inconsistent, I think we've finally found something that we've stuck to for, I think for the last year and a half, we've been incredibly consistent with this. That just really works well for us.
And we mean consistent, not just when we're home. It also comes with us when we travel. It also comes with us in difficult scenarios. And we continue to do it because it actually has that much of an impact on us that it's worth pushing to do even when it's hard.
So here's what ours looks like now. And we just want to say this for an example. Your morning routine should be something that lights you up, something that full of an activity or activities that you just love to do or that just really work well for you. This is just what works for us. So first, we always meditate or do some form of breath work. And this really primes our mind. It gets us present. And we believe that meditation and being present in your life is literally the most important thing you could possibly train, because it allows you to enjoy what you're doing. It allows you to give your full attention to whatever is in front of you.
Yeah, it allows you to reduce your stress, to notice your stress. It can really help you tremendously. I also want to, for anybody who wants to know where we're getting our meditation from, we use an app called Waking Up by Sam Harris. We also use something called Insight Timer. I'm currently pregnant, and on Insight Timer, they have so many pregnancy specific meditations. So I listen to those. There also is one specific about self-love and self-compassion and manifestation or whatever it is that you're looking for. Insight Timer has so many. You can also go to YouTube and just search word kindness meditation or basic beginner meditation, whatever it is that you're looking for.
Or you could just sit with the timer.
Or you can just sit with the timer. And Insight Timer allows you to do that. So Insight Timer has the option to just set 10 minutes, start it, and then it'll have a bell at the beginning and a bell at the end.
And it'll just like track how often you're doing it.
Exactly.
That's the only benefit over like a clock, I guess. I'm also getting into the XPT app a little bit. It has some more like intense breathwork protocols. And for a long time, I thought breathing is just breathing. But what I'm discovering is that different paces of breathing can elicit a much different response. And if you know anything about me, you know that at one point I was literally a junkie. I was literally a drug addict. And I've always just been like a thrill seeker and trying to like change my state of consciousness in some way. And breath work is a great way to legally and responsibly change your state of consciousness and feel high. Like I feel when I do something like Wim Hof or pranayama or an intense breathwork session, I feel so elevated and energized. And so I'm experimenting with some of that.
Get it. Get it,
boy. So we always start out with that, and that's priming our mind. Then we move on to either Ramwad or some other form of yoga. We have a yoga studio really close to us now that we go to sometimes. And we're just taking care of our bodies in that one.
Yeah. That one's harder for me than it is for you. You love Ramwad.
I don't love, that's one of those things that I really don't love it.
Just
I just love how it makes me feel after. I actually really don't like it a lot of times. It's hard. It's like boring.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah. I haven't really considered that, but I'm committed to doing that every single day.
So that's kind of like the Mama Gina self-care thing. Like you do it because future you is going to benefit from it. And then on the third thing that we do is we clear our minds a little bit more after meditation, after Ramwad, and we journal or plan for the day. Or I know at this point, Michael starts to make coffee for us, and then he brings coffee back in.
Yeah, it's coffee, then journal.
Coffee.
Very specific.
We are very specific about it. I often write some type of poetry. Lately, I've been doing a haiku each morning, which is a 5 syllables, 7 syllables, 5 syllables. It's a pretty fun, easy way to write some poetry and feel like a poet. And that's just a way to get our thoughts out on paper. I know both of us generally for journaling do what people call morning pages or just free-flowing thought for 2 to 3 pages. If you want to do 1 page, half a page, doesn't really matter. Free-flowing thought, just whatever is coming up in your mind, just putting it down on the paper. I don't know about you, but for me, this is often incredibly disjointed where I'll just jump from thought to thought to thought to thought.
Mm-hmm.
So no one's reading this. I know there's zero judgment about this. It's just what is popping up in my mind comes out on the paper. And this for me has been incredibly insightful because I have noticed similar thoughts coming up daily that I didn't even know were consistent things that were in my mind.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe an issue with a friend or feeling like I want to connect with a specific person or a stress that I'm having keeps coming up on the paper. And then it is another notification beyond meditation that I need to address that thing in my life, or it's something important to me.
Then I will write about things that I'm working on either at work or in our relationship. And I'll ask myself on a scale of 1 to 10, how am I doing on that? I'll rate all of those. And then if I'm lower than I want to be, I'll ask if there's any action step I can take to move those numbers up. And then I visit some goals. And again, I look at, is there any action I can take to aggressively move towards any of these goals? And then after that, occasionally, if we have time, we will read or go on a walk, or we'll just start to have breakfast. And by the end of that, we feel like really taken care of, really present, and ready to tackle the day.
This takes roughly in total 60 minutes. That's how much time it's generally taking us in the morning. I do want to say often you can hear somebody else's experience and you can want to jump in exactly where they are. And I just want to reiterate that this took us a long time to get to this place. So my suggestion, if you're not into morning routines already, if it's not something that you're already accustomed to, waking up in the morning and doing something outside of brushing your teeth and putting your clothes on before you start your day, I would pick one thing for the shortest amount of time that you feel like you can there's an 80% chance that you're actually going to commit to it, and do that for a little bit first. That's how we got here. I think there's this thing about podcasting or social media where you see where somebody's at and you want to be where they're at. So you jump in there where you don't end up realizing that there was a lot of work that they had to do to get there. So I don't want to make it seem like we just added in 60 minutes into our mornings seamlessly. This took legitimately years of working and trying and experimenting and finding what works best for us.
Yeah. So how to implement this yourself. Number one is starting small and just picking ideally one thing to start off with. Number two is to do everything you can to maintain your integrity and your consistency with that one thing. So for instance, if you're going to say you want to meditate, talk about specifically how long you want to do it. Decide where you want to do it, when you want to do it, what it comes before, what it comes after. So let's see, what is anchoring? Anchoring is you already have a habit like brushing your teeth. And if you decide that meditation comes after brushing your teeth, that's called, I think, habit anchoring.
Habit stacking.
Habit stacking.
Yeah. So it's what he's talking about is just making as many decisions ahead of time so that you don't have to have this decision-making process in the moment, which can lead to ultimately deciding not to do it at all. So if you've decided all of the things he's talking about, where you're going to do it, when, all of that, it's going to make it more likely that you're actually going to follow through.
And then once you've been consistent with this one thing for ideally at least like a month, then add a second thing. And one thing you can consider is stick to that one thing for a month. And then some days, if you just have more time, feel free to do bonus stuff. But the key here with any habit is to just be consistent with that one thing. So rather than trying to start with 5 things and then inevitably, life gets in the way and it starts to, you don't do it one day, you don't do it another day, and then it kind of falls apart. Pick one thing that you can do every single day. Start really small, nail it so that it becomes like just a part of who you are, becomes automatic, then add from there.
Yeah. It's not about not doing more things. Sure, like Michael's saying, add on extra, but make success or what you're aiming for lower than all of those things added. All of those things are added bonuses on top of it so that we just want to limit the opportunity for you to fail so that you stay motivated, that you can still do it.
And after experimenting with this for a while and figuring out like what really makes sense for you, I think that you'll start to look forward to your mornings. I love our morning routine. I just absolutely love it.
And there is sometimes where we get up in the morning and we know we have some opportunity to have even extra time, like on the weekends. This is something we do on the weekends. Mm-hmm. You know, we look forward to the weekend morning routine because we know we have less responsibilities, less obligations, less reason that we have to stop it, and we can drag it out a little bit longer. It is really can actually feel very luxurious at moments.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if you're consistent with this, I just truly believe that the way that you go through your entire day you'll have a greater sense of ease, you'll have a little more confidence, and you'll be proactive. You'll stop feeling like you're constantly having to react to what other people want from you because you're on offense, as Adee said earlier.
You get all this extra space, and with all this extra space, you have the opportunity to show up as the kind of person you want to show up as, which feels really, really, really amazing. I highly recommend experimenting with a morning routine. And if you already have one, then we definitely want to hear about it. We want to hear about what's working for you. Maybe you have some ideas that we haven't tried before, and we would love to upgrade and integrate that into our life. So reach out to us on social media. At Michael Cashew, at Adee Cashew. Or if you're going to pick something from this episode and you're going to try it for 30 days, let us know about that too, and let us know how it's going, maybe how it's impacted your life, what you're getting from it. Is it hard? Is it not? We can give you a little pep talk if you need it. Yeah, we're here for it.
Peace.
Thanks for joining us. Stay in touch by signing up for our newsletter at workingagainstgravity.com or on Instagram at workingagainstgravity.
And don't forget to subscribe to us on iTunes, leave us a 5-star review, and refer a friend. We'll be back next week with another episode. Talk to you then.